Hello everyone. Kurt Bauman here, another episode of Music in the Stars. A little bit different here, as you can tell, as I'm walking out on the land with my dogs. But I felt like now was the time. So I want to talk about Mercury in retrograde. It's always a big thing in the astrological community. When Mercury goes retrograde, people honestly tend to start freaking out, starting to panic, and obviously it's understandable in the sense that we need to be aware of the different things that happen when planetary movements go retrograde, especially Mercury, because it, as you know, has to do with the mind and the intellect. It has to do with all things about communication. So people talk about not wanting to sign contracts, not wanting to make big decisions, etc., etc. But I want to offer a different perspective, because it's not necessarily a bad thing. These planets, when they go retrograde, it's an important part of, as I always say, forgive me for repeating myself, but it's the in-breath and the out-breath. This is a natural process of Mercury taking an in-breath. It's going inward. It's awareness of our own mental acuity, our own mental ability, our own intellect, and understanding how we want to express that out into the world. So it's more of a personal thing. It's more of communicating within, communicating with ourselves, and really coming to terms with what it is that we actually want to say in the world, what it is that we actually want to express. It's not always the time to be so vocal. It's not always the time to communicate with the world. Silence is actually a good thing, and it's a time to really collect ourselves, collect our thoughts. Okay, so now this is going to be in the sign of Virgo, ruled by Mercury, which is fascinating, which does put more emphasis on the intellect. It does put more emphasis on the powers of what Mercury represents through the filter of Virgo. So let's talk about that. What does Virgo represent? Virgo's the analytical mind. Virgo loves to compartmentalize everything. Virgo needs to have order. It needs to have everything in its proper place in order for it to feel like it's properly expressing its archetype. So it's going to be a little bit different. Virgo might not have as much influence and power on the outer expression of your mental abilities, of your capacity to communicate. There may be times where you feel lost for words. There may be times where you feel disorganized. There may be times when you feel like you're not fully understanding what is going on, or why there are potential communication breakdowns between you and others. Things won't be as together. Things won't be as predictable and in their place. But don't fear that. Don't be afraid of that. Again, I like to say these are the actual things that bring a spice to life. They are the actual things that make life interesting. If everything was always in its place and always a predictable situation, then there's no room for magic. Let this be the time for magic. And speaking of that, Mercury in the tarot is the power of the magician. It is the magic card. But let it be more of an inward magic. Let it be more of magic for yourself. This is like self-love, self-nurturing, self-awareness. Awareness, another key word for Mercury. It's going retrograde, and let's let it be that. Let this be the beautiful, proper expression of who he is. This is so natural. It's interesting to me when people are always afraid of it and fear it. We don't need to. I always think we should embrace these retrogrades and love it. I get it. It's the detour. It's off the common path. And that makes people uncomfortable at times. But again, let these uncomfortable moments be the spice that brings interest into life. So yeah, that's what I want to say about Mercury retrograde right now as it gets closer. This is happening towards the end of the month. As it gets closer, maybe I'll chime in again on how you're doing or what it means. And yeah, I hope this helps you. I hope it brings you some comfort, some strength, some bravery, and don't fear it. Enjoy it. All right, thanks for listening. Hope to see you in the next video.